for the pledge. We'll get the meeting opened up. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. On this evening's agenda, we'll be discussing some transfer station issues and possible resolutions with Steve Bellew. Is that
Close enough.
alright? And then we go into old and new business, and we have a non-public session to discuss some personnel issues to wrap up the evening. With that being said, good evening, everyone.
Good
Luke,
evening.
Good evening.
Debbie, Steve, Jim. You have the floor, Steve.
I just, I'm here to answer any questions someone might have about what I wrote up. Like I said, this was a wish list, so nothing on it is, it's all just suggestions.
Okay. Now, so my first question, I guess, is just, I believe this has already been covered, but since you're in, I'll ask you directly if this had been given to Peter.
Yes, it had.
Okay. Alright,
The only real issue I have is the bottom of the first page, need for two 20-amp circuit breakers, not including electric heater. Right now, the building has two 15-amp circuit breakers. One of them is dedicated to just the electric heater, which isn't used and hasn't worked since I got there.
okay,
But with only one 15-amp breaker and two outlets in that building, the fuse pops a lot, the breaker pops a lot, which crashes the database, which means we could lose everything we have as far as computerized automation for the data, for the dump.
oh, alright. Okay. Now do you know, this seems like something that could be rectified fairly easily.
Yes, it could be.
Okay. And last week, I believe I'd asked if you could speak with Peter, Debbie, about some of the items on this list that seemed like they were easy fixes. And I'm not sure what your, 'cause I know you meet like every other week for the,
Yeah, we didn't have one last week.
okay,
Everyone was busy, so, hang on one second, I just wanted to write one thing.
cause there were, quite a few that seemed like could be knocked right off the list.
Yep.
And I
So-
believe I was in your office last week at some point, and Peter had come in and we kinda talked about the shifting of
Yeah.
how things are all lined up down there.
Yeah, the, containers and, or whatever.
Yeah,
I asked him today if he had had a chance to talk to, Shaw about moving them, and I guess they're putting in a new water line somewhere, or he can't get in touch with them, basically, is what it amounts to.
okay,
So he hasn't had a chance to talk to the guy at Shaw.
Yeah.
As far as realigning that stuff.
yeah,
He did say he put a new heater up there. I'm not sure. In your thing it says he didn't, but
There isn't one in the in my building. Although the one the propane heater that's in there is old, but it works fine.
yeah. Or maybe that's, he said,
Yeah,
I'm
the
pretty
electric-
sure he said it was propane heater.
Yeah, and that
Instead of
one,
electric.
the propane works fine. The electric heater hasn't worked since I got there. We've always used the propane, but one breaker is still dedicated to it.
Is that a 15-amp breaker also, or a 20?
Yes, it's a 15.
Okay.
But there's only two outlets in the building, and I have outlet strips plugged into those just to get everything energized. So if it was two circuits, even if it was just two 15-amp circuits, put another outlet in by the desk. That was off the second 15-amp breaker, the one that was going to electric heater. It would make a big difference.
Right, and you've got a computer in there also, right?
Yes.
Do you have a battery backup on that computer?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I only
You
had
might
so
wanna
much to do.
consider that, cause if what he says about the circuit breaker popping quite often.
Mm-hmm.
It would be good to have that able to be run.
It'd be
And
better
the
to
only
make so
thing
the breaker
there is-
won't pop.
Excuse me a second. And the only thing there would be that you can't plug the printer
No,
into that.
just be the CPU and the monitor so I can shut it down
That'd be
quickly.
fine,
And I have 3 or 4 UPSs at my house that just have dead batteries. So if the town wants to buy just the batteries, it'd be a lot cheaper. I'll donate a UPS,
Okay.
or you can buy one. It doesn't matter to me.
Alright. Excellent, thank you. Yeah, you've been very giving of your time and helping organize, things down there at the transfer station. And we
I'm trying.
truly appreciate it.
That's right.
Yeah. And I guess if we kinda started at the top and ran down, in regards to the 3-phase power,
Mhm.
there's nothing that we're gonna be able to do immediately for that because of the massive infrastructure.
I have
Expense.
to, I have to do some research because I need to know how many horsepower the compactor motors are. Because a 2-phase to 3-phase converter, can be as cheap as $300.
I thought that's what they were using up there.
They have 2 of them, but they
Yeah.
have 3 machines.
Oh, okay.
If they bought a third, then it wouldn't be an issue.
Okay,
But if it's a 20 horsepower machine, then they start getting expensive.
yeah.
So I don't know.
So do you feel comfortable assessing that and making a recommendation of,
Yeah, I can do the research on it as long as the motors are labeled as to what they are. Or I can put an amp meter on it and see what they draw.
okay,
But I'd also have to check to see the gauge of the wire going from the main, where the power comes in, over to the plastic and cardboard dumpsters to make sure it can handle both at the same time.
okay. Yeah, excellent.
Do we have to have the ability to handle multiple ones at the same time?
Cardboard and plastic are run very often, and there's usually a backup of plastic piled up and cardboard piled up because we can't get them both running at the same time.
Okay.
Household trash is a very large dumpster, and it doesn't fill up nearly as fast. That's why I was hoping that we could just switch between the cardboard and the household trash. That way it's just running wires. It's a lot cheaper than buying anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we would alleviate the backlog of the cardboard and plastic.
It's a good idea.
I don't know how it's set up, so I don't know. There's 2 types of phase converters. One's a motor and one's a
Digital.
digital electronic box. If
Yeah.
one of them's on the motor, I don't know if it's how.
Well, the 2 I saw there seem to be digital ones.
I haven't gone down below to see what the other one is.
Okay.
Okay, but again, you feel comfortable kinda looking at that whole array and making a
I'm an
recommendation?
electronics technician for 32 years.
Okay, well, I just wanna make sure that, if you need more resources, we can get more resources
no,
for you
I'll-
too.
I would have a certified electrician go over the plans and say, yeah, that's meets all new codes,
Okay,
because I've been out of the game for a while, and the federal government didn't have to follow the regulation codes anyways,
yeah,
believe it or not, so.
Yep. I believe it.
But I would have an electrician, 'cause I can write something up, but I'd have an electrician look at it.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I got a question. Who owns those machines?
All those machines belong to Shaw's.
So
Oh.
shouldn't they be responsible for the converters and the wiring and everything else?
Yeah, I just assumed that we had owned the compactors.
No, if we did, it'd be a heck of a lot cheaper. We pay $130-something a ton to have those emptied, and $119 to have them delivered to Shaw's so they can be emptied. So if there's only 1 ton, which is usually close to 5 or 6 tons per container, but if there's only 1 ton, we're spending over $250 just to get them over there and emptied.
So if we owned them, what would we do? How would we
we would just take them to them and have them empty. We wouldn't get rid of the demolition fee for them to take it, but we'd be saving $119 per,
Trip for them
Trip.
to pick them up.
that would pay for a used truck within a year.
Okay.
Another simple thing would be to get another container for aluminum cans. They're easily recyclable as sold as scrap aluminum. And if we only cash them in at the end of the year, it would be money in the pockets instead of just mixing with the plastic. But I don't know what kind of deal you have with Shaw's, if they want the aluminum, so they'll take the plastic, or if we get paid for plastic and cardboard, or how it works.
Alright. The next was a credit card machine, phone / internet.
Yep.
Um,
To get the phone to work, we need a Wi-Fi booster,
okay,
or to run a cable down from the main building down to our shack. When they install the wiring down there, I don't know if they use conduit all the way or if they just use direct burial cable. If they use conduit, it wouldn't be hard to pull the wire through. If not, we'd have to buy a signal booster. Because the phone calls I've gotten usually drop off in the middle of the phone call, and then I gotta try to call them back right away, so I didn't think I hung up on them.
okay,
So it's not working with the Wi-Fi?
No,
yeah, so, yeah, that signal's too weak.
it rings, but once you start talking, it just fades out and dies.
Mm.
And then as far as, having the credit card machine down there,
Yeah, I don't know what's involved in that, if you need phone lines for that or
it's
not.
probably, yeah, we'd need a reliable, yeah,
I had talked to the treasurer a while back to see, well, she brought it up to me because the way she does the budget for the license plates and stuff, she didn't want the monies getting mixed up. But she set it up so there would be different accounts, even though it's on the same account, there'd be two divisions, one that would come from the transfer station, and one that comes from the license plates of DMV. So they would be isolated, so there wouldn't be any confusion.
okay,
So they could use the same type of machine and the same service we have here, we just have to have a second machine hooked up to the phone line.
Does the company we use offer that, or?
So
I don't know.
I don't so those we have to pay for, they're like $350, those machines.
Mhm.
And then they charge the customer who uses the card 2.79% of whatever the total is, with $1.50 minimum to process it. I was thinking, and I don't know if it would work or not, like what about that square thing that you can hook up to your phone?
Well, you'd
Just
have to get
swipe.
a phone or a tablet to use it with.
Right,
yeah, that would work off of
Yeah.
a cell like some type, they all
Yeah.
need a signal,
Right.
yeah,
How is the cell service there?
We don't have any.
no,
Just like the
where's
rest of
that
the town.
tower?
yeah,
We talked about that last week.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so those two do go together, and we would like to offer that, like the credit card service, cause a lot of times people are
I do
more
get
than willing
asked
to pay
a
the
lot,
fee,
a couple times, at least a week.
yeah,
And that kind of stuff, it's probably the minimum $1.50 fee, unless they're throwing away, 7 couches and, you know what I mean, that's
well,
when
then
you
that's
get
where
Yeah.
they can weigh that out
it. Right,
themselves,
yeah,
yep.
exactly, like they do over here,
Yep.
yeah,
Might not hurt to put up a sign saying, just stating that a credit card machine would have a service charge.
yeah,
Because if people say, well, I'm not gonna use it, then there's
Right.
no sense in going through the expense
right,
to have the card used once a month, a card used once a month. If
Mhm.
everyone says, well, I'm only throwing out 2 bags, I'm not gonna spend another $1.50 for a transaction fee,
Yeah,
which is the minimum from what I understand.
yep, yeah, they're all a little bit different,
Yeah.
and just because we have a system here doesn't mean that we can't utilize like a Square system
Right.
down, or something that is
Something
no
else.
charge for the
Yeah.
device, like, cause they'll send it all out to you because they're making
Right.
money off of it
Right.
now. and it's a fairly there's a lot of competition in that market now, so.
They'd still charge a fee to process. it.
Correct, yeah, but we wouldn't have to pay,
It might not
yeah,
be-
we wouldn't
Yeah,
worry about
oh
it,
no, I know,
yeah.
but it might not be as much as that one,
So we'll continue to look into that.
okay.
Do we have a
Aspect.
phone line going down there? No, okay.
We had to hook it up with Wi-Fi, and apparently it doesn't work well.
So, yeah, it sounds like
'Cause
we
it's
need a
on a
booster, yeah, we'll get the booster potentially, and then,
Or if there's conduit
yeah,
from the cable, the booster would be
we'll have to
an
weigh that
immediate
out,
fix.
yeah, immediate fix, it probably costs a little bit more than the hard line aspect, but then the labor to install the
Mhm.
conduit would be greater, so we have to weigh that out, but definitely something that can be rectified fairly easily. Then the next on your list was lines in the pavement to reduce traffic congestion.
Yeah, it's not, again, not a necessity, but I still get people that back up to the dumpsters so they can throw their own trash away, which blocks everybody else from getting into it,
Okay,
which is, people only live in their own little world.
yeah, just try to help organize it down there.
Yeah, there was, I mean, it's not a necessity by any, none of this is a necessity except for the, good power or UPS for the computer, but none of it is, necessary.
Okay,
And Peter was also saying the lines really wouldn't be needed if they can rearrange the containers.
okay, alright, so that may be resolved through,
Yeah,
okay.
hopefully.
And then the current shack size is 10 by 8, and you were suggesting a 12 by 12.
That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
We've been working in a 10 by 8 I've been working there for over 2 years. It works, it's
Okay.
crowded, but it works. If they were to hire a third person, I don't know where the third person would go.
Okay. We covered the breakers. So you're having trouble with your windows down
Well,
there?
we don't get even when there's nice breeze coming through, because where the old dump was, there's no trees, so winter time it stinks because we get cold air, but in the summertime we get a nice breeze. But if we're in the shack, there's no breeze because the windows don't open that way. The two big plate glass windows, if they open, we get a nice breeze through there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just plate glass, they're not actual windows,
Yeah, they're not real windows.
they're just
Okay.
glass. But the two other windows that are in there do open,
But
One's
got
with an air conditioner in it.
so
Yeah.
doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah. Okay. And then the next one was about the AC unit. It sounds like it's inadequate if you're going in and out of the building, like
Well, the doors being open and closed constantly. People
Yeah.
coming in to buy trash bags or to pay for their single bags or whatever. I mean, there are times when the door is not open and closed non-stop, but there's a line waiting and the door doesn't get closed at all.
And a lot of like the transfer stations that are run privately, they'll in their shack area, they'll have that zone where money's being taken in and out, like behind a wall of sorts, and it's like a service door, like a window that you'd open. So, you know, the customer goes in, finds out what they owe, and then
Well,
everything's done.
With the size building we have, we don't have any space for that.
Yeah,
or what about like just a sliding window like at the town clerk's
yeah.
desk? On the outside,
On the outside, so that people just come up to the building.
instead of
maybe.
going in the building,
Yeah,
We're also not sitting in there that long.
right,
The only time we're sitting in there is when there's a line of people waiting to get stuff.
right,
yeah,
So
okay. And then the next is about kind of how the configuration is down there with the demolition and scrap metal,
Yeah.
being not in an ideal zone.
you can't see them both from where they are.
So that should be a part of the consideration, in the
Right.
conversations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
The
Peter
other,
was
the
talking
other
about.
issue is if the town does plan on hiring a third person or not, because that would change a lot of the way you wanna configure stuff.
Would it make sense to have the shack, if you got a new one, to put it on the other side of the parking lot or the paved area? Like towards the,
Put it before the people go to the containers instead of after.
or just, so you'd always be able to see the whole area.
Yeah, but we're not sitting in there.
Hmm.
I'm literally on my feet all day long. I sit down maybe a total of 30 minutes a
I've
day.
seen. I don't go every Saturday. but
That's
I've
why
seen
my
it.
knee is swollen like it is because by the end of the day I'm limping. But we don't sit down very much in the office. If there are 3 people there, that may happen, we may get some time to do that.
And then now, as far as the town bags versus the non-town bags,
It would make life a lot easier for us if you were to go strictly town bags, except for demolition. The black demolition bags, and for those you charge $3 or $4, just to make sure people aren't using them just because it's more convenient.
yeah,
So Peter was talking about if you use like a kitchen bag, like a 13-gallon white kitchen bag or whatever, it's like totally get rid of the town bags
yeah,
and not use them at all, because we don't make any money on them. They're just, we charge what we pay for them, but someone still has to bring them up to the transfer station, someone has to bring them down to the market, someone has to bring them up here. So instead of having all of that, if you just charge, okay, if you have a 13-gallon, it's $2. If you have a 33 to 35-gallon regular, trash bag, it's $4. And if you have a big contractor bag, it's $6 or $5 or whatever. Just charge a flat fee for each bag instead of,
yeah.
and just totally get rid of the town bags.
So, was talking with a resident earlier today, and that was something that they had brought up. They didn't understand. So take the time to purchase the bags, but then you notice there's people that don't, and
Right.
what's the point to them? If we decided to get rid of the town bags, would it be the same difference? So then you're not having to.
Well, if they don't have the town bags, it's hard to keep track of how much they're throwing out. You have to actually keep watching them.
Mm-hmm.
If they're only using town bags, you see something that's not green going in there, you know immediately they're cheating the system.
Gotcha.
And as far as distributing the bags, I don't see why they can't be sold strictly from the dump. If you're using the bags, you're going to the dump. We kept the whole inventory down there in the other building. We wouldn't run out, and people could buy them there whenever they needed them.
Yeah.
When I'm stupid,
Only
when I
on
run out on
Saturday.
Wednesday, are you gonna be available for me to buy a bag so I can throw away my trash on Thursday?
Right.
Or Saturday.
That would be the argument.
You only throw your bags away on Saturdays.
Right, but you need the bags to throw your trash away, so if you don't have any,
So if my roll of town bags runs out on Wednesday, Steve,
Yeah,
I'm gonna put my trash in on Thursday.
yeah. I don't have
I
all
can see
the
a lot of pushback.
answers.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
I could see a lot of pushback is all.
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Has anybody given any thought to having a punch card?
At this point, like this day and age, I'd almost stay away from punch cards because, it can be. I know that you can get stars in different shapes and things, but it just seems cumbersome, like a punch card, to me, and just another thing to track and someone to potentially abuse in some way with punch cards.
It's just a thought, there's a lot of
Yeah.
places that use them.
Alright, and then also the town stickers. You had mentioned last week, Debbie, that we have a stockpile of the stickers.
Pretty much, yeah, and they don't have dates on them, so we write it on there with a Sharpie, but apparently that fades. I didn't know, I mean,
Yeah,
makes sense, if you stick it in your window.
yeah.
Stickers can't be that expensive. Or
I
are
have
they?
no idea what they cost.
What can you
Yeah.
get like 5 different colors and just cycle them?
That's what it would seem
Yeah,
like,
you
like
had
they do
said
with the
that.
plates. License plates, you know.
Or inspection stickers.
Yeah.
Even 3 colors would probably be more than enough. No one's gonna
Probably,
keep an old
yeah.
sticker. for
Especially if they
10
go
years.
for 2 years anyway.
Mm.
It'd make it easier for us to see at a glance. And if the dates faded, there wouldn't be any arguments over when it was expired and when it wasn't.
Yeah, so even like that, the sticker sales, guess that grants you access to the recycling, you know, that there's no additional fee for right now, right?
There's no
Other than
fee
that.
for recycling now,
Yeah,
Right.
or styrofoam.
but I wonder if it would just be checking an ID be enough, like for residency, or I guess there's people
Well,
that
then
don't
you
have the
actually have to
correct
read it.
address on the license,
Yeah.
Takes a lot more time.
Yeah.
Just to glance at the windshield and then is to stop the person, ask them to pull out the wall, the
Right.
person pull out their ID card.
yeah.
So that way, if you've got, let's say, 3 colors, and you've got some blue ones left over, you know that in 4 years you're gonna be able to use them again.
Mhm.
So one thing we didn't bring up, which I know, seeing you there at the transfer station, we've talked a few times about probably all of these things.
Yeah, so I get in trouble because
No,
I
it's
get the
fine.
impression I go over his head.
Well,
And I guess in
We've
all
also talked
actuality,
about-
I am, because I'm talking to the selectmen, because they happen to be there, and I never see Peter. I work on Saturdays, he only works during the week, so I never get to see him.
Mhm.
But because the selectmen come in, I do talk to them, and from his point of view, I can understand why he got the feeling I was going over his head.
But I just wanna, I'm curious if you think, being open on a Wednesday evening, isn't that what it used to be?
Yeah, Wednesday from 3
Would
to
that
7 or
help?
something like that.
With some of these issues, or, and would you be willing?
I wouldn't mind giving it a try for a few months and see if it makes a difference, see if enough people use it. If enough people don't use it, there's no sense in paying the employees to be there.
Right.
But if it gets good use, then I would think it would be a good thing. A lot of the people ask for it.
Cause it sounds to me like to have 2 people there, you guys are stretched right to the max. Your
Mhm.
whole time
Right.
you're there Saturday, if we could avoid hiring a 3rd person by having it open on Wednesday, that would be nice, but if we need a 3rd person, I don't know.
Yeah.
mean, you can only ask so much of people.
Correct, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I actually feel you guys, being asked too much of right now, and that's why I have trouble staying. I like the job, but I can't, I'm putting out so much effort, I am dead on Sundays, I can't get up the count. Every bone in my body is sore, every muscle's sore. I just can't keep that pace up.
Okay. Alright, so I know, what you put on this list has been, you know, given to Peter, you know, so,
Yeah,
and we'll look to, you know, make these corrections, you know, through him.
If feasible, I know when
Yeah.
Peter first got this list, because I was, my original list, I was told, that the town had come into some extra money and the police department, fire department, and some other departments were putting in wish lists.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my wish list to give to Peter, but by procrastinating it ended up being like 3 or 4 weeks late, 5 weeks late. And I didn't put on the top of it, wish list for the transfer station, so he thought I was making demands. And he got upset with me, that's why he sent someone down to throw everything out of my shed. Because they asked for a larger shed, because he felt I was making demands of him. And these were non-negotiable, but it was the
Okay.
the truth. I talked to him, as soon as I talked to him, it was straightened out.
Okay,
I'm not the kind of person to make demands of my supervisor.
no, I can understand, like, where that, got a little confused and,
I understand
Yeah.
his point of view, and once
Yeah.
I sat back and thought about it, Because first, for the longest time it appeared everything was going over his head, he hears stuff from the selectmen, not from me. And then for me to give him a list of things that didn't clearly state it was a wish list.
And then even some of that, like those feelings might be held over from how things have been treated in the past. But since I've been on this board, I've looked for open communication from all town employees, all community members, and I've made it clear that no one will be discouraged from communicating with whomever they feel most comfortable with, if that's the case, or who's available.
Well, I think Peter's a great supervisor.
Yep.
I have no problem with him whatsoever.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying, like,
Never had any issue.
things weren't run like this, like before, where we have a free flow of communication, cause at the end of the day,
Well, I'm
Steve.
a firm believer in a chain of command. If you
Yeah.
have a supervisor, you shouldn't be going to his boss before you talk to him.
well, I wanna
If
assure
you
you
talk to
that,
him and then he says no, 3 or 4 times, and you feel that it's unjust, then you should go over his head.
well, I wanna let you know that there was no additional pressure applied from this board nor Debbie on Peter,
No,
like pressure,
I wasn't,
because of the
I wasn't
communication.
trying to imply that, I was just.
Well, I'm just letting you know,
He
like,
hears,
we all work together, we're all here together, working together, the
but out of
community, all,
common courtesy, he should have heard from me first, before he heard from someone else.
Yep.
Is my personal opinion, and
Yep.
I didn't even think about it when I was doing it.
well, that's fine, yeah.
So, I don't think he was, I don't feel you guys are putting undue pressure on or anything like that, but I can see how he felt,
Mhm.
and I probably would have felt the same way in the same circumstances.
No, I can appreciate that, and, thank you for having that consideration
Yeah.
of it as well. But, Debbie and I have spoken about some of this, and I even had a chance to, like I said last week, at some point, run into Peter, and we will look into, making these corrections, the ones that we can. We look forward to getting your recommendations in regards to,
The glass bins that we have, what are they used for? We have 3 concrete bins, sections full of green
Mm.
glass, white glass, brown glass.
yeah,
Are they used in them?
That gets picked up at
Peter's-
shows.
I thought he said he uses it for something, like mixes it in with something.
With the asphalt maybe? For roads?
Something like that.
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
Because that would be an ideal spot for 3 compactors, moving everything up to the upstairs building except for the demolition. And the demolition would be the scrap metal and the demolition, and then one person could handle that a lot easier, while the other 2 are handle the top side. I think you need 3 people there, to be honest with you. When I first came to New Hampshire, there was 5,
Wow, really?
okay, yeah, so you've seen quite a influx of use of
When
our,
I first started, there was 3.
yeah,
Then it dropped down to 2.
okay,
And to answer your question, I know Corning buys glass to use on their insulation.
Yeah, there may be a good use for it, I was just wondering if it'd be a
They do
perfect
ship
spot
across
for
the country.
the compactors.
Do we sell it to them?
I don't know.
we're not sure what we
It has to
do
go
with
to,
it,
Oh,
or
I
if
thought
Sean
that's
takes
what he was
it,
saying.
or,
yeah, it goes to Utah. for
He would
processing.
know, cause every once in a while you do see them get
Yeah.
lowered. They do get lowered
Yeah.
every once in a while, so they are taken somewhere.
okay,
It looks like, just looking at this, where we stood end of July, it looks like there's a few line items in the transfer station that could easily do these smaller items that appear to never be used. Telephone, internet cell line. General supplies and uniform footwear. Do you guys use that?
Uniform footwear. We're authorized to buy a pair of boots once a year, but I never have.
I don't think there's enough in there for 2 guys to buy a pair of boots unless you go to
We were told
a discount store.
we were told we're allowed to, but I never did. I have 2 pairs of boots already.
But yeah, there's 100% of them 3 lines left. What is that, like $2,300, $2,600?
$600 is more than pay for a third person.
Not for a
$100,
year.
oh, it's 5,200, yeah, never mind, I was thinking a month.
Hmm.
It's about $100, a little bit over $100 a week for someone to be there for 8 hours.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, do you guys have any additional questions or anything? Lou,
I'm all set.
Steve?
No,
Okay.
fine.
Alright, so like with this, again, we're just gonna shift this back over.
Yeah.
We'll start working through,
And-
Peter with it.
And like I said from the beginning, this is a wish list, and if none of this comes to fruition, I'm not gonna be upset or anything along those lines.
No, it's invaluable. Thank you for taking the time to write it out and to make corrections on even some of the things that we spoke about a few weeks ago or a month ago.
Yeah, that's why I wrote it down, because there was a misunderstanding. I think it was through our communications error
Yeah.
that we were shy $1,700 every week. I wish that were true, cause they put a lot more money into the accounts.
Okay. Alright, well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
And you are
really
appreciated.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Alrighty, thank you guys.
Have a
Thanks,
good night.
Steve. Take
Thanks,
care.
Steve. Good seeing you.
So that puts us right into old new business. You wanna guide us through your packet?
Sure. So let's see. Oh, so we, yeah, I don't know where to start. So many things. So we got an additional $128,000.
Well, so first in my packet is this
Oh,
office.
I didn't do my packets like your packets. So we had talked about office space for the fire department if we got rid of the portables that are there.
Okay,
So Peter got quotes on these, and the prices are on them. That's a month per 28 days. One of them's 800. It's like a double wide a month,
mhm,
and then another one's 525. Another one's 750.
I'm sorry, those prices are for what?
For 28 per 28 days. A 20-foot office, 525 for 28 days. 40-foot
Okay.
all office, 750 for 28 days. 40-foot double office, 800 for 28 days.
And is that replacing those training?
If we got rid of those two,
Okay,
so that's the rental fee. So would it be less expensive to? He didn't get a purchase price,
Yeah.
purchase quote. These are just rental.
okay,
So I don't know if it would, I mean, it seems like a lot of money to me, but I don't,
no, it does, and
I
it
don't
definitely
know.
seems like
it would be less expensive to fix up what we have.
correct. And then I guess, from what they've said, they don't ever really use that back classroom and have no intentions to,
Oh, I thought she said she would if
and
she could.
it's gone back and forth.
Okay.
So we need some type of we need a definite answer so that we can have a clear path forward on
Okay.
that issue, like of those classrooms. Cause the front one sounds like it's more easily
Is that like
What
the
was-
big
yeah,
for both buildings?
Right.
yeah, for both and some of the fire department, like whatever need to be corrected with the main structure as well.
but that was putting in new floors and a bunch of other stuff too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, let me throw, and this would be overkill, but it's certainly bigger than a 10 by 12 building over at the transfer station.
Right.
how about moving that one over to the transfer station and doing a little bit of work on it at a time to make it usable?
That may be feasible, I'm not sure, cause when we did a walkthrough of it, it didn't seem like it was beyond savable,
No, it seemed quite,
yeah.
the structure seemed fine.
Oh, I thought Peter said like if you moved it, it would crumble or
Well,
something.
not in regards to moving, but like just being in the unit, it seemed okay. I was almost wondering why, cause there was no obvious water penetrations, or I was expecting a lot more visible disrepair.
Right,
Cause it, and then being there, it sounded more like there might be wiring issues of some sorts, maybe mice got in, or, cause different things didn't work right.
okay,
And they had said something about mold, which again wasn't apparent, like it wasn't able to be pointed out or shown, like when we
Okay.
actually did the walkthrough. So there's a little disconnect in some of the information that we've heard from the different departments and what we saw,
okay,
right? Because I think we're of the opinion, were you on that?
No, I think
It's
Bert was
Bert.
there.
I felt like we were of the opinion that it seemed like it could be repaired, and that's why we went forward with looking at how much it would take to
okay,
repair the units.
I think that was before I came here.
Yeah,
And I think it seems like Mark agreed to come in with a number like that.
right,
yeah,
And I thought he had something like 13,000 or something, cause I thought that meeting with Mark happened after, in one of my first couple meetings.
alright, so that's why, yeah, so you were a part of some of the discussion,
yeah,
and that kinda got just shifted
right,
away, so,
It's funny, they do a 28-day cycle,
so you get an extra month,
they get 13 months.
Yeah.
right,
If we could do that on our books.
right?
And, since we're on that same type of business, Steve brought up this thing about, getting a truck to transport the stuff rather than, and Peter brought that up to me also.
Mhm,
That instead of having Shaw's pick up the trash and take it out or whatever, that it would be easier if we used one of our trucks and save ourselves that $120 or $119 every time you need to make a run over.
but at the same rate, when you talk about, so you're talking about at least an hour, at the very least, probably 2 hours allotted for that trip. And then, the upkeep and expense of a big piece of machinery like that, or the additional stress on our equipment. And that's why, like the 119, it sounds like a lot of money, but at the end of the day, it probably isn't, and because it's not our problem.
Agreed.
Mhm.
The other thing was that we are going to have the extra dump truck, or we have an extra dump truck now. Because the new plow truck is in for repair. And rather than selling that, we could use that for doing that transport.
And those would fit okay on the back of a regular
I haven't
dually?
the slightest idea.
Yeah, so it's all things that can be looked at, but again, through Peter and,
Mm-hmm.
how do we get back to the transfer station?
so the next week's agenda, do we put anything on that yet? I feel like we had something,
I do too,
but I don't have it in my notebook, and
yeah, I have it on my,
but I feel like
Yes.
we should be able to speak about the,
oh yeah, there's only one thing,
yeah,
um,
so can we put this
was it?
on, the fire department outbuildings and renovations
okay, and just remember I won't be here,
next week?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it was.
and also there's, well, I'll tell you about that in my update.
Alright, so for the fire department, building repairs on for next week.
Okay.
Moving forward,
you have next in your packet?
The treasurer's report,
Okay, yeah, that's just an FYI.
okay,
All these balances are as of 7/31.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And next we have the DOT,
Okay, so we got an additional, they sent all the towns in New Hampshire an additional, block grant apportionment. So we received it already, but in order to be able to use it, we have to hold a public hearing, noticed in the newspaper, etc.
correct, yeah.
So we'll post that.
Okay,
So when do you wanna have that?
is that a 14 or a 28 day notice?
It said 7,
Oh, 7?
yeah.
So we'll put that on for the 30th then.
Okay. Alright, who's he yelling at? And then the other DOT thing is the 2023, well, they kinda go like their fiscal year is July 22 to June 23. So that's what we're expecting for next year. We've already received the top one, the 45,000. And then next year it's going up. I mean down, I'm sorry, to 30,000.
Did they say why or?
I didn't see anything why. This is what, I got what you have. It changes every year though.
But the total's roughly the same. Lou, it's always around 150
Is it?
plus
Yeah.
thousand, yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen it at 157 the total, 154, now 151.
Okay.
Yeah, it varies, and then even like this year, I think how much is the additional?
128.
128 on top of the lower estimated number from last year.
Yeah, so they had apparently extra funds or whatever, that's why they sent every town a different amount based on your population and your, how many feet of roads you have, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And then that's non-public. What do you have next over there?
The Concord Hometown Hero
Yes.
banners.
So you spoke to the guy, I guess?
Yeah, and I'm not ready for this yet.
Okay.
I want to discuss it with you after he sent the packet
Oh,
out.
okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
So you guys got some additional, like some initial information, but
okay.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, so let's pause on that for
okay,
now.
alright, and that it, other than the non-public stuff? I think?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So, alright, so we talked about that. Mark is working on getting a quote that you guys requested for the, do-it-yourself light bulbs as opposed to,
Oh, good.
so he has to get a quote from an electrician, cause they do have to be, rewired somehow for something, and plus the cost of the bulbs. You guys had asked about how the, fire department, where it was their first hourly, thing versus stipend. Meredith said it's within the budget, and if they worked, they got paid, if they didn't work, they didn't get paid.
But no easy breakdown, or
No.
would we get that from Roger maybe?
I guess probably we could, yeah.
Okay, so we
It's
can
only
get that
been a
hard
month
number.
though, right?
What's
Yeah.
that?
It's only been a month, so it
Yeah,
won't
so they get their
really
stipends
say
every
much.
6 months, so probably at the end of the year would be the best time to compare it.
No, you can see a trend, like evolving, and I'd rather keep a close eye on that number
Okay,
as we go. so we can identify if there's gonna be any issues sooner rather than later instead of letting it lurk.
Okay,
I know it comes in the reports, but there's a lot of things that we
Okay.
all look at and things slip through the cracks, so if we can keep that right on our radar.
okay.
Why don't just track it on a quarterly basis?
Not right now, like, cause we had just made that change,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wanna make sure that we're not gonna be out of line come October if that pay line's already spent out,
Okay,
you know, and we'll be able to see that, you know, like as we go. And like I said, it's a new system, new philosophy, and one of the statements that I had made in support while I was supporting it was that if we're effective managers, there won't be an issue and the budget won't be ballooned by, you know, changing it to hourly. And I would like to, you know, just keep right on top of that.
And then next week, there was a request to, for the town to accept an easement to make the road wider, and I can't remember which road it's on. Crying out loud, but they have a whole letter of plans and everything, it's in the Dropbox. But that's for next week, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up,
Okay.
Cause you won't be here.
and I won't be here, right?
Now, when we've looked at other easements before, like at the planning board level, and this is just me asking cause I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
how does this differ versus the other adjustments that have been made, like the other easement adjustments that have come before the planning board?
Yeah, I'm not sure why, because Boynton Hill, they did an easement and it didn't have to go before the select board to my knowledge
Yeah,
to make, so basically what it is, it's a section of land along the road, so if the town wants to widen the road, we can. And they did that on Boynton Hill and I don't recall it
Who
going
did it?
before the selectmen. On Boynton Hill,
Yeah.
Salo, I believe. When they did their subdivision down by Todd Road, across from Cindy
So
Som Road.
Did the planning board ask for that easement?
No, he offered it up.
Oh,
but yeah, it didn't come before this board,
Yeah, I didn't think
and it's
so.
a part of the planning board
Yeah, so I'm not sure why.
approval of those that subdivision.
but that was just his land, right? I mean, that didn't make everybody on the road have to give an easement.
No.
It's just for a section.
Just
No,
for a
wait.
section that he owned.
I thought it did affect the occupant across the street.
No,
Well, no, cause he was giving a portion of his land on the other side, so he was giving the town additional rights to that other side in order to widen out and make the appropriate ditching that we need to.
He didn't have the rights over, if it's where I'm thinking, if you and I are talking about the same place, didn't they widen the road out to the point that, on the other side, to the point that they buried the stone wall?
Well, that is a totally different subject,
Okay.
cause that was the town did that, like on their own, like took that and widened it out that way or added additional fill years ago. So this is more within, like, the Salo part was just probably February of 2020 or so when they went for their approvals. I
Yeah,
believe you were
something like
still,
yeah, I was still doing planning board then,
yeah.
but yeah, they had, you were there. Didn't you go on the walk with us too? Yeah.
So,
if
but
you-
that
if you're
work
going down
wasn't,
Boynton
isn't a
Hill.
part of what we're discussing now,
No.
like that's the other side of the road only.
Okay,
So
but
Russell granting additional easement didn't allow us to put Phil further onto Cindy's side.
Yeah, nothing unrelated.
They're two different issues,
Okay.
I believe, yeah, cause I don't know
It's
how
on the
him
opposite
granting us
side.
additional, yeah,
Yeah, he just said, if you wanna use it, here's 18 feet.
Yeah.
think
Right.
it was 18 feet, yeah.
And that was because I think it goes back to either June or September of, it was either 18 or 19. If you look at the minutes, it was when Hank was and whichever Mr. Salo was at the meeting, came to the agreement that
This was long after Hank passed away.
well, okay, they came to an agreement about that the work would be done on the Salo side. That's what
No,
I'm getting
that's
to.
good, no, that's not what we're talking about.
Okay,
It was part of their subdivision that they granted an easement to the town on that side of the road, not on the Sawmill
Okay.
side.
okay.
So
But anyway, so, yeah, so they,
does that belong with us or does it belong with the planning board?
they want, well, it went through the planning board already,
Oh, it did?
yeah.
The
I
planning
thought
board
she
is
said
moving
that.
it to
I
us?
thought that's what Jen said.
Oh.
Let me look into that.
What was the name on that? Like,
I don't remember.
okay.
Okay, I've been working on the audit, trying to gather all that stuff. Loads of fun. And that's about it. I think that's all I have.
Lou, did you have any old or new business?
No,
Jason?
Yeah, we had our Heritage Commission meeting Monday, and we were hoping to have an open house at the Old Town Hall during Children's Fair. And it turns out we can't because
Nobody's gonna be there.
no one on the Heritage Commission is gonna be here except for me. And I don't think it would be a good representation for just me to be there. So we're hoping to reschedule it for October sometime, cause we had a 1-day permission from the fire department. I guess they had put a cease and desist order. I'm not sure what's left on that order. I guess
I don't know, I don't.
maybe next week, if the chief comes in, we can add that to I can throw that in there on the building repairs discussion. Ask her
Okay.
for more.
Yes, I guess if you could extend the invitation to Meredith
Yeah.
Wonder if
next week.
Mark ought to come as well.
and Mark,
If
yeah,
he
yeah,
can.
try to tie it all up.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Get that.
Alright,
And then on the subject of the Heritage Committee, as far as like, how many members are on that committee right now?
4.
There's 4 of us.
4?
Yeah.
Okay. And with structure, is there like a point person, like a chairperson,
Yeah, it's Fran Atchison.
Fran Atchison?
Yeah.
Website. It's all updated on the website
Okay.
for when we started.
And then as far, like, are minutes being posted for that committee too, or?
Sometimes I've
Okay.
seen them.
Yeah, so we canceled a couple of meetings and I have not had a chance to do the minutes, but I offered up draft copies to,
Okay.
of my handwritten, but
Yep.
she didn't want them, so
No,
I
no,
will
that's
get to
fine,
them.
yeah. Yep.
as soon as I can.
Who are the 4 members on the Heritage Committee?
Jason, myself, Fran Atchison, and Phil Thayer. Again, on the website.
Well, I'm not gonna look at the website right
Oh, I
now.
know, I just
And
wanna
I'm sorry
make
that I
su-
didn't know and I didn't
No,
look,
I'm
yeah.
I'm not saying it like that, I just wanna
And I
make sure that
appreciate
you
you
know
being able to
it's
tell
on
me.
the website,
Thank you.
in case you chose to look at it.
And,
So as everyone can see, it'd be nice to have an odd number on there. So one more person, please, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, you wanna be on the
Is,
Heritage Commission?
Can't be discouraging people from attending our meetings here.
and so that is Heritage Commission, not committee?
That's
Correct. Commission.
which does have more powers granted under the RSA's. And that's on the website as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't flex our muscle very much though.
So
So there was
since minutes is, you know, I know, and this is a good sign, that minutes of like the Heritage Commission, you had stated before that was kind of
it was
I would say,
non-existent
yeah, non-existent,
until
Yeah.
inactive, and then you
Until
know
this year, from
resurrecting it,
2019 till this year.
which is, and then being asked about posted minutes like for that group that hadn't been active,
Yeah.
and that it's not being asked at this level is a good sign. We're refining things, right? Like it's a smaller part of our works, so to speak. I don't know like what term to put in, but I look at it as encouraging.
Mhm.
that we didn't post the minutes. From
Not that
the
you
last
didn't,
No,
meeting.
that
that you
someone
didn't post
noticed
it,
that we
that somebody
didn't
noticed it,
post
so
Oh,
they,
somebody did.
so they're starting at the
Yes.
top and working down and
Yeah.
questioning some of the smaller committees or commissions.
When
So-
do y'all meet?
The second Monday of every month, unless we cancel.
We haven't canceled too many meetings. Maybe
Two or
one.
three. No, I think it's,
No.
this year was, I think,
Was it two? Maybe.
yeah.
So that was a little
Yeah,
disappointing. It would have been nice to have it open, but circumstances took over.
well, it'd be
Yeah.
best to have a good showing rather than not,
Right.
not a strong showing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause that day is gonna be very busy.
Yeah, it would have.
It is.
It would have
Yeah.
been a good day to have it.
I know, that's
Yeah.
what we wanted.
How are you guys tied into the historical society? You know?
We're not.
Zero. We'd met with them previous to 2020, but there doesn't seem to be much interest in uniting. That was the feeling that we got. They would definitely help us out and offered their help if we ever wanted to ask.
Cause that's a private group,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
And then on that subject, the old town hall committee defunct.
As far as
Don't
I
know
know.
of it. There's a file, there's a folder in our file cabinet that says Old Town Hall Committee. I believe that was set up before the Heritage Commission. And
Okay.
the Old Town Hall Committee did a lot of work. We still have hours
Oh, yeah.
of research to do because a lot of the stuff that we talked about in the past, we were basically reinventing the wheel. It had already been done.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we found these files, and
Files.
so now it's on our radar to get them out and start going through because there was a lot of legwork done by the Old Town Hall Committee. Part of what they discovered is in order to get grants, you need a Heritage Commission.
Right.
And
That's
so
why it was
then
created.
they formed the Heritage Commission and met with some resistance, and it died. So
The
Heritage.
Heritage,
the Old Town Hall restoration.
yeah,
There was many hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people
I know.
put time in. We have two different drawings plus architectural studies.
Yep.
But the two drawings done, one proposed septic system and it looks to me like they were volunteers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put in a lot of time.
Yep.
so, have you thought to reach out to maybe some of those other, the past active members of
Yeah, we
that
have.
committee?
We have.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
I would be interested talking later.
You would?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Cause
And that's
buildings, it's historical or heritage sites, right?
Yep.
so the Heritage Commission, that's one aspect of it.
Yeah.
Is
I
to
just
try and
making sure.
preserve
The old town hall, but yeah, it's
and that was the
also-
reason it was started was specifically for that old town hall. What drew me to it was
History.
more in the latter part of the RSA, where we're supposed to be making people aware of the history
Yeah.
in this town and
No,
the heritage of this town.
Mhm.
I'll give you a story. You know, I got a camp up in New Vineyard, Maine, and the town produced a book about the history of the town, and it was interesting. I mean, the Revolutionary War commander of the American fleet, Captain Daggett, is buried there.
Wow.
Captain Daggett commanded the fleet after the Revolutionary War. Massachusetts didn't have enough money to pay their soldiers. Maine was part of Massachusetts. He got a land grant in northern Maine. He moved his family up there. He was from Martha's Vineyard. He called it New Vineyard. But it talks about the town and how the roads and different annexes. and
So
different
we have them
towns.
for sale right now.
Yeah.
The Heritage
if you'd like
Commission.
to, if you'd like to
Yeah.
buy one.
Oh, I would, actually.
Well, we have two in New Ipswich. One
Yeah.
was written by Kidder, who Kidder Mountain is named after.
Yeah.
And that's the earlier history book, and then the other one was written by Chandler. They also had co-writers, I think
The,
it was
the town has a lot of history. You know, there's a
Yeah.
Revolutionary War drummer buried here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On-
A lot of
right on
people don't know.
and then also right on intersection of River Road and Ashby Road, out in the woods a little ways, is
Yeah.
a monument where I believe it was maybe one Revolutionary War soldier came home from the battle, had smallpox, died of smallpox, and because that was pretty serious stuff for a town to be facing, they buried him right where they died.
Yeah.
They dug a hole and buried him, and there's a brass monument out in the woods there.
Oh.
Exactly.
Which I believe the Boy Scouts decorate
We're
every
right,
year.
almost right across from Mountain View.
Oh, is that where it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
You go in the woods there, right, almost right across from Mountain View.
Yeah.
It's right there.
So it's by the old brick schoolhouse,
Who
which
owns
is
that property?
Yeah.
I hope they never. Anyway.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
yeah. So there's a lot of that.
Okay,
If
so
you join the Heritage Commission, Fran and Debbie are going to be upset because me, you, and Phil will talk till 11 o'clock.
But
every
that's
night.
okay. We do that every night anyway. We adjourn the meeting and then spend another 45 minutes just talking about history of the town.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. It's
It can be
It's
fun.
very interesting.
But what we got to do is get that information out.
Right.
But it's a start.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
gotta
so
start.
I'm glad to hear it's active and
Yeah.
you know,
And fun.
4 members is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I remember originally you had said that you're on it, but
I was the only one.
yeah.
Well, it's funny because Fran came in one day and I'm like, I want to join this Heritage Commission, and she's like, that we kind of don't have it anymore. I'm like, well, we need to do it. So I
Yeah.
started sending her emails, and she's like, all right.
Nice.
Well, yeah, and I sent a few emails
Yeah.
between 2020 and 20.
Yeah, so it's excellent that it's up
Yeah.
and going again.
Right.
And, yeah, and hopefully we can
I dragged
Yeah.
Phil and
finish out the old town hall
That'd be
renovations
nice.
and get that functional.
It's got a lot of, I don't know if you call them hurdles,
Yeah.
but challenges
yeah,
Yeah.
that
which always have solutions.
Exactly.
I would think
We
so.
can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You just gotta twist the right arms. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, then the other thing I did have a couple people asking me about the building inspector's cell phone number and why they're still getting Rick's.
The number has not changed. It's the same phone number.
So that phone
Was it
Was
the town
handed.
phone? Yeah,
over to
correct.
the new building inspector.
Ann Howard owns that property, by the way.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Ann Howard owns that property where that monument is.
Ann Howard.
Okay, so what are you saying that the voicemail still says Rick? Like it has his voice on
That's
it?
what I understood from.
Okay.
So, okay. Change the voicemail.
Oh, or the voicemail here says Rick Donovan or so we can just look
There's
at the
no
voicemails.
extension.
Yeah.
It's
something.
it's the cell phone. Would be the only. He didn't have a phone,
Okay.
so it has to be the cell.
So when they asked, I just gave the number that I had for Jim, and I don't know if that was the right number to give.
So,
he has a town.
It's funny you say that,
So-
cause I just had that conversation last week, cause I got two numbers and I wasn't sure which one
Right.
So I guess I should stop in and talk with them, but in any case,
Mhm.
there was a few. Then I'm wondering if we got any more responses for our bookkeeper.
Wait a second here, this went, you said no new business, I thought.
I didn't,
Oh, you
we
didn't?
no.
Oh, wait, no, I'm crazy.
That was last week.
That was
Yeah.
last week.
and then he said, oh, but wait.
Yeah, alright.
I learned that from Columbo.
Oh, is
Oh.
that where that's from?
Remember that? You understood that. You
And I
weren't
tried to
talking
watch
We'll have
that
to get you
again
a trench
recently and I
coat.
couldn't do it, I don't know what it was.
We'll have to get
Some
you
of
a
the old
trench coat.
shows. That's awesome.
That's funny.
No, I'm just curious. I think our
Um,
clock is running out on that.
Yeah, so we have 3.
Oh,
So I was gonna bring that up in non-public,
oh, good. Well, that's
so
good
we could have
news
names.
that we have
Yeah.
3 applicants.
Okay.
And update on the PD, I talked with Matthew, we put together our notes from our public hearing that he wants to incorporate onto the final draft of them. And then we'll be
Getting quotes.
visiting Debbie to have it posted for quotes.
Nice.
Unless you think we should just contact people that,
We can also, it's always good to put out the public
Yeah.
notice for bids and then.
is
Yeah.
is it okay to say, hey, I know 4 guys? Or is that something I should
I mean,
avoid?
we can post it on the website and post it on Facebook, on our Facebook
Mm.
page, just say, hey, we're looking for bids. Here's the scope. Like, do we have to do like an actual like RFP official bid package
No.
type of thing? Or just, this is what we're looking for?
Looking at work done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And because of the renovation, because of the nature of renovations, if you write an exhaustive scope,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. You're
right,
gonna have to do a walkthrough and
right,
say, so these walls will stay this color,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
yeah,
Have
But
them
they all need to be clarified,
Yeah.
cause,
Oh, hey, we're doing a walkthrough on this day.
well, I already
go
spoke
through
with
the-
Mike, and we're both willing to have walkthroughs by appointment.
Okay,
It'd be nice if there was multiple people could do it at once, but
yeah,
he
alright,
really wants it done, and he said
Right.
we'll accommodate as best we can,
okay,
so that should be coming shortly. And that's it. Oh, one more, no.
I know that's coming. Alright, oh, so the Finance Advisory Committee postings about their meetings,
yeah,
isn't on the website.
it is,
Oh, it is on the website?
correct,
It is on the website.
Yeah.
Good,
Sorry, I
good
got hit with something.
preemption.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got hit with that as well,
Oh, I thought they were coming this week.
no,
no. No, was able to, meet with them yesterday morning. So, that was their normal meeting time. Seems to be what,
Mondays at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was posted
another
on the website under Finance Advisory, and if you go to their agenda, it was there. And it was also posted in the lobby and I believe at the post office, but I'm not 100% sure.
Now, what if both me and Lou show up to a meeting, is that okay?
You
I was just
would-
gonna ask the same question.
We'd have to post it because you're,
Or what if we're
Like-
quiet?
you can't
No.
sit.
So,
You
yeah,
can't
so,
be there.
no.
So
That's
if
what,
I would have dropped in on you, what would have happened? You would have told me, get lost.
yeah, yeah.
I would have said, no, you get lost. I wanna hear.
No, yeah, no, I can appreciate that. But they're looking for some initial, just kind of guidances and basic kind of questions about things. And one of the things on this line that I was gonna ask was, what type of reporting, would you guys want or look for, like from them as they move through doing their work.
Since I don't know exactly what kind of reporting they're thinking about, I'd have
No, like timeline.
oh, timeline.
Yeah, cause from what I understand, they've each divvied up the different departments between each other. And are going to start holding meetings soon, like at some point, they're not quite there yet. So I don't know if you wanted like a bi-weekly, or just, they could even just give Debbie an update. They're fairly active, and
Yeah,
they've been doing a lot of
it's
work
amazing.
already.
Well, they're gonna have minutes from their meetings, right?
Correct.
That should be enough to fill us in.
That's what my thought would be.
And two is,
One,
you know, I would like to attend a meeting, but if we're each going to attend meetings, then we should phase it in such a way that no two of us are there at the same time.
And
And I just wanna be not an active participant, but just to see what they're doing and get a feel for it.
yeah,
That's all.
okay, yeah, just so long as it doesn't become kinda going like this. So I
Nope.
just took it on
I'll
as
keep my mouth
the
shut.
chair of the select board, and just like how Dennis now, Howe is the chair of the finance advisory committee,
Mhm.
so they did appoint that chairperson, so it's like a point of contact,
Mhm.
so they don't get like steered in too many directions.
so I think on that note of the minutes, I would like to see them whenever they have them. If you could give them to us, because I feel like that committee is so closely linked to us
Mm-hmm.
that we need to know exactly what's
Agreed.
going on.
Mhm.
They are posted on the website.
Okay.
Alright.
But I can do a special email if you'd like.
Well, no, I'm saying like when they have them
Yeah,
Like
they,
you print
they
off-
they have them every Monday night.
every Monday.
Yeah,
They're not being recorded, are they?
No,
like on TV.
Or whatever?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they just write minutes.
Okay.
And they're having them weekly?
Correct. That's their intention for now. That may kinda, for the next like month or so, they may not have it every Monday because, they're gonna be trying to meet with all the department heads individually. So they've, you know, like, one of them has police, fire, DPW, another one has assessing, planning, town office, another, so they're not gonna be meeting as a group. They're gonna each, you know, like you guys are liaisons, that's kinda what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So are you taking minutes for that group?
I am
or-
not,
Oh.
no. I don't have time to do minutes for that too.
No. Well, I was just.
I know they
Yeah,
produce
no,
their own,
they,
and
yeah,
they're
they
pretty
do
thorough,
their own, they're very thorough,
extremely
amazing.
thorough.
So
I should be so
what's-
thorough,
I know they had a questionnaire that came through on email.
yeah, but
questions
nobody
for the
answered
board.
it, nobody responded,
I'm wondering
so-
what sort of direction that you gave them that you felt like the board was looking for.
Things that we had spoken about, or even in that appointment night, reiterated, how we were looking to keep our tax rate flat, like as, like a metric, and since we're going into times where everybody's facing higher costs, to encourage our department heads to really look at what their expenditures are gonna be, and just because there's this inflation term, doesn't mean that that's not the excuse that we'd use to have an inflated budget for next year. Anything we can do to help not add burden, to the taxpayers, anything that, should be done. Trying to, I didn't bring in, I should have brought my notes in from that meeting.
So how is this year's budget season gonna be different than last year's?
They're starting
Seems-
sooner, it's more organized, we haven't, picked like a timeline yet. I set an ideal, like Debbie's gonna work with them on the timeline, that's something that came out of that meeting, like how things should work this year. And that for next year's, hopefully everything can be started a bit sooner. And cause some of the reporting that we do to the state actually takes place at the end of October, beginning of November. And a lot of times we don't have all of that back to us from our department heads over the years that I've seen. Like until, we don't finalize our stuff until January sometimes. So, and we're kind of like taking these projections, and we're allowed to change some of that. Like there's timelines for changes, but I don't wanna be in the extension period
No,
with the state.
no, that'd be nice.
To get those initial reportings done accurately, once.
Their goal is to get like the final budget stuff done in November and present it to you guys in December.
And so that would be a big difference from last year, because
Yeah.
last year we had preliminary meetings with all the
Right,
Mhm.
department heads. They're doing all of that.
yeah,
Correct.
So are they, do you see it like they'll come in with 4 two department heads, and they'll say, this is what we recommend, and then we'll let the department, is that how it?
It could,
I'm
well, it
just
could
not
be just
sure.
maybe like that board, and then whatever group that one of the department, or like we'll just break it up however we see fit, cause we're not gonna be able to fit it all in one night.
right,
We could probably do it in a series of
Right.
meetings.
But it won't be as lengthy as last year. Last
Right.
year, we had to invest a lot of time
Correct,
as a
Right.
board, which hurts.
yeah,
in the way that they're conducting themselves and how thorough all of their numbers, and they're proficient with Excel and getting that information right back out in their minutes or in a report form. There shouldn't be any trouble keeping track as they go. Like, and
Right.
if there's an issue where a department seems like they're gonna be, much higher than they were in the previous years, or there's special exceptions that need to be made, those will be brought to our attention sooner, so that we can help work through that aspect with them. But a lot of the mundane things, they'll be able to cover. I also asked if they would thoroughly go through each, like on our budget sheets, there'll be multiple lines for different things.
Yeah, we've seen
Like, yeah, to clean all of that up, because some of those were added in throughout time, cause there was this fear of taking out a line and not being able to add the line back in, but then the description's not in line with what the actual use is. The philosophy of if they overspend on a line, to have that line truly overspent instead of hiding it in a line that wasn't expended, kinda like how we're speaking about this evening
Yeah.
with the transfer station things. There
moving
needs to be
stuff.
notes put in and explanations of why the over expenditure was, where the funds came from, how they were able to go without money in a specific line, so that when the budget's being considered the next year, we'll understand, like in
Yeah.
those note sections
Yeah.
of why the numbers don't quite line up or they look off, and why they would need the money again.
Well, wouldn't the correct way would be to take the money and transfer it from one section to another?
No, cause then you don't know why, like, when you see the negative number, it brings your attention to it immediately, why did this go negative? And then you have a note saying, because, gas prices doubled or whatever,
Yeah.
so you have a paper trail of everything of why, instead of just moving money from one line to another, and it makes it look like, just to balance it out, you know what I
And
mean?
it gives you a
Nothing
truer-
would, it would give you a truer,
And
exactly,
you can see it on,
and you can
our
follow
budget.
it, as opposed to saying, we took the gas money out of the computer money line, and now neither one of them went over, so that's great. But that's not truly what happened. The gas line went over, so we wanna be able to see that on
Okay.
every line.
Okay.
you
And
can
then
see
when they're
what
that.
asking for the
actually
same
happened.
computer the following year, it'll,
Right.
you can point right to that, and
Yeah.
then there'll be notes. So a lot of this will be real time. They're speaking about meeting quarterly, and like as the
After
budget's being
budget season.
executed,
Yeah.
like to, you know,
Get these, and
yeah, and to go over any anomalies with the departments.
Okay. So, are they taking over the responsibilities of the CIP from the planning board?
No.
Not at this time, but as, you know, I just made notes, to bring up this evening to get the CIP into the finance advisory, because it really belongs
That's what I was just thinking.
with them, yeah, as well as all of the capital improvements,
Right.
I think it's in the
Not
RSA.
this year though. I
Yeah,
thought that's what you were asking this
No,
year.
I- no,
Let's let
I-
him get this.
I'm looking
Yeah.
long term,
Yeah.
because I think the RSA's state that the planning board's responsible for the CIP.
Mhm.
Mhm. So they can work, you know, with the planning board,
Right.
but it's
Yeah.
another group of people that'll take some
Right.
burden off of other volunteers.
Right.
And it's all with that financial scope.
sounds very good.
Yeah, no, it was really good, all their questions were really good.
Yep.
We even touched on the deliberative session, for this upcoming season, and changing how that runs. They're all willing, to sit with us, like, at the table, like to answer to the community members. And
Was
then
that
also
done
to
in the
have the
past?
department heads,
Mhm.
instead of putting the department heads
So,
out into the audience, I feel like we should bring them in with us as well, so that people can see like who's a department head, you know, and if there's a question, that department head will be there at the ready to answer for their budget specifically.
And they're okay with that?
They're going to have to be. Yeah. Cause they're the best ones that can articulate why
right.
they need a certain expenditure and, give the reasoning. It's always best to hear it from the person than someone that's speaking on their behalf. Spoke about just keeping the budgets tight, but not too tight. And we're trying to figure out the best way, to annotate like the extra money, cause you need a little bit of extra in there, and if we can designate, if it was just a flat percentage over the whole, like that department's budget, it's almost like something that you could immediately look at as a potential return in the following budget cycle, like if it's not
Is that
expended.
legal?
What's that?
I thought, I asked about having contingency fund in your.
It's not a
Yes,
contingency
it's-
fund, but
it's not legal.
each department can, you know, budget extra, a little bit extra in lines that may be subject to, you know, volatile increases such as fuel and things like that we're going through right now. And that'll be stated in that report. So some of these, like the extra money that's been in the budget before, we didn't know why, or didn't even know about it, cause it's not clear when you look at the reports. But it will be a clarifying point.
Like we don't know how much oil we're gonna use this year and how much the oil is gonna be per gallon for the town, say just for the town office. You know what I mean? So how do you budget for something, cause we got the splits, so we'll be partially using those.
Yep.
So we're hoping we're gonna be using less oil, but we don't know.
Yeah, but that might be offset by the increased cost of the electricity too,
Which
But
is a
it's a
different
separate,
line.
but it's a separate line.
with a separate line, yeah.
I wondered if.
Yeah, we've already blown our electric budget for the year.
So,
We've
Just
gone
looking-
over for, the whole year's budget is gone as
For
of now.
electricity. Shut off the lights.
Alright.
Yep.
Get out the candles.
Yep. I did that. Actually, it's not.
well, and that was probably partially due to through the winter, these are having a hard time keeping up with it, and we didn't have the oil units on, so all we
Yeah.
were getting for heat was through these splits.
Which
But
they're
if
not
we
made
had-
to do that.
Yeah, they're not, you know, only to a certain degree.
Right.
So if we have the oil systems at the ready or set at a certain temperature, or figure out some way to kinda offset it a bit on those really cold, late January, February days.
-10 degrees.
Yeah. We shouldn't go through the amount of electricity that we went through, this
No.
past winter.
It was crazy.
Mm.
But nobody knew, everyone thought these were gonna be the end all be all, and they were gonna take the oil system out.
Yeah.
Imagine if they did.
No.
That would not have been good.
No.
Anyways,
Yeah, I apologize for not bringing in, the notes, specific to the FAC,
Oh,
this
no,
evening.
I was just curious.
Yep. No, I should have though.
I didn't bring in notes from Heritage Commission, so, and I didn't see any notes from, wait, what commission are you on?
No commissions.
You should still have notes.
Alright, so next, I wanted to speak on or ask a question about was that glitch that was on our website, in regards to the video from the police department on that tour. Remember there was like a login, like it would make you log in
No.
if you're gonna,
that's not what it was about,
okay,
but I know what you're talking about. So, that was explained also. So, the police had, it wasn't a video, it was a fact sheet basically from 2019, I believe.
okay,
And it was, because it was old, they unpublished it. So if you click, but it was only partially unpublished, like they unpublished the link but not the document or something like that. So if you clicked on it, it would say please log in.
Yeah.
But it's not logging in to view the document, it's logging in as an editor of the website. So if you didn't have a username and a password to do anything on the website, like edit or add things or whatever, if you're not an employee of the town, you're not gonna have it. So they didn't fully unpublish that thing, that piece,
okay,
but I sent it to that person anyway.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, has that glitch been resolved?
That I don't know, cause I had mentioned it to Kelly, but then she's out, so I will double check on that.
Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't asking you to log in to view it, it was like you had to be an administrator on the website to log in,
yeah, no, I understand that,
okay?
just wanna make sure it's been taken down or corrected so that it's
So,
not there anymore.
Cause I had asked Sue about it and she said she thought only they had access to that page,
Yeah,
cause it was the PD page. So I'll check with Sue tomorrow to see if she was able to do it, and if not, I mean, there's nobody over there that can do it, to my
Okay.
knowledge, right now.
um. And as far as our information sheet, cause we have a lot of changes and, people swapping around, has our contact sheet been fully updated?
The,
So even up to the point where Jim was appointed the interim building inspector,
what contact sheet?
like our general,
Oh, the one that's in-house,
yeah,
that we all have? I don't think, yeah, that,
cause last week there was some
Is that this?
confusion, yeah,
yeah, the one that's on my desk, I don't know who did it or where it came from, but half the email addresses aren't even right. I'm like, where did this even come from? I don't know who did it.
This
Um,
one's real old.
So
It used to be hanging up on the wall or on your, maybe it was on your desk when Jim was there. And I know that one still half of it was not quite correct. He got it about 80% correct.
on what wall?
Right over by the file cabinet.
In the office? In
Yeah.
my office?
Mm-hmm.
It's under the blotter.
alright,
But anyways, I don't know who did it, I don't know who updated it, I don't know any of that, so,
okay,
Yeah, that needs to be updated.
And then sent out to all the departments. On that subject, the .gov, any news on that, or is that just,
So they sent a thing saying it was approved, and then something didn't work with some numbers, so Greg is still working on that.
okay,
I talked to him today. Is it today? Or I don't know. It was either today or yesterday. He was here.
yep. And with that, email addresses, because we were looking at redoing all the email addresses and making them more uniform and appropriate for the different departments and
Yeah.
even boards.
Yep.
With the finance advisory or any other committee or commission, should each member have a town email address in order to communicate with each other? Cause I think legally they should for their own protection.
They don't have to,
Yeah,
but if there is a 91A request or whatever, you're using your personal email, that can be. They can have everything in
Yeah.
your personal email.
Mhm.
So
so is that something
I
that we'd like to
suggest-
do for
I
our
think-
volunteers?
I think we should.
I do too.
Cause there is an added expense,
Yeah. It's like, isn't it $15 per email
yeah, the low number I had
Per
heard
month
was
or per year?
per
7.
year?
Per year?
I think it's $15 a year per email. I think.
So if you can maybe get like a hard number on that,
Okay.
Should get a group discount.
right?
Well, I mean, you could set up an email account off of one of the free things and have it just say on there, that's chairman, finance advisory at whatever.
Well, part of the
I think-
part of the reason that we've gone from the .org to .gov is that there's enhanced security with the
Right.
.gov
Right.
Yeah.
designation, and being that they're discussing financial, town finances, like for every department, for the SAC specifically, I believe they should have that same email, cause that's where the,
Mm-hmm.
the .hotmail or .com doesn't have those protections even.
But that's all public.
What's that?
I mean, it's all public information. Anyone can go in and ask for this.
Yeah, I don't know, I just,
So,
yeah,
I don't see
I
that
just
it
don't like
needs-
that it's if anyone wanted to, they could attach their personal emails to. You know what I mean? So if somebody said, I wanna see every email because you're on the finance advisory committee, or you're on the select board, or you're on whatever, and you don't have a town email that is specifically used for that, whoever's viewing it can have access to all of your emails if you're using your personal
Right,
account.
but a member could set up a new email account and only use that
Oh, if they wanted to, yeah.
for their, which I would recommend that they do in the meantime.
but
But if it's
at the
not
same
tied
time,
to the town's email,
It's not an official town email.
then what happens is that if there's an inspection going on, the whoever's the auditor is has access to all of their personal email also.
No, he's saying set up a Gmail account, but only don't use it for personal stuff, only use it for town stuff.
I understand that, but if it's on his personal computer,
Well, where's his .org or .gov? It's gonna be on his personal computer.
but it's in our server,
Right.
right?
whereas the other one's on a outside
On a
server.
crazy yeah, but
I heard that the cloud is the safest place in the universe.
It really is.
I don't believe that.
but it doesn't, yeah. So they only have access to that one email address, if
10
that's
minutes
all
already.
you're using.
That I'm for everybody should be on, within our own.
How much it depends on
Yeah,
what the
I mean-
cost is too.
Right.
I mean, if the cost is prohibitive, then we should
gonna
look
find
at
it.
another option.
And so we'll look at the cost, even at $15 a month is the low
Per person?
cost so it's $60 a month for that committee, so it's $720 a year.
And then there's also how many other
If it's
You-
$15 a month, I think the .gov is, I don't think there's much cost to it.
So you're saying at the .org, but it may be
I
different.
think
at
that's a
the
whole
.gov.
separate thing though,
Oh, is it?
I think.
It's
I'm
from
not,
our.
I'm
from
not
our-
sure how all that techie stuff works. But like, so we pay $15, and I can't remember if it's a month or a year, per email address for our town of New Ipswich.org. I don't know if you get a certain amount, or if we'd still be using however that email thing is set up, or if we'd be using a .gov. I mean, I know the email is gonna be .gov, but how is it? I don't.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
then-
if you take 15 times, this wouldn't even be an exhaustive list. If you had every member,
That's probably
Yes.
less than half.
yeah, this would be. So I don't know what this is. 50 people, 100 people.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's a multi-million-dollar. You know, we're in charge of.
There's
You know,
all kinds
lots
of cybersecurity stuff going on right now. I actually
And there's a
literally.
cost to doing things, and that's a very low cost to me, and worthwhile. Like to offer people that are volunteering their time, like those protections.
Right. And like I said,
Yeah,
I agree with.
there's gotta be a,
there
like.
has to be some level.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how that whole thing works, but I will find out from Greg.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry.
Alright, and last thing I have is that the video committee is looking for volunteers. Currently still a committee of 2. And
I thought
we
it
would
was
really
3.
like to, well, I'm on the committee too, but
Oh,
more as like
no, I wasn't
liaison.
thinking you.
Oh no. Yeah, 'cause only Becky and Ron were there this evening, so officially, and then there was a community member that was offering,
Oh, attending.
yeah,
I see.
attending the meeting,
I see how that works.
yeah.
Okay.
So at any rate, we're looking to expand our channel and content, and getting people out to record various different, you know, community
How-
functions.
She mentioned something about the school, but I thought the school has got its own video organization.
Somewhat, and in a meeting that we had with the school before the end of this past school year, we're looking to expand that and then offer this as like a work up to where they would actually start their video committee in even the elementary school, maybe for the for, you know, like just introduction to video and
Oh,
recording,
that'd be cool.
and then have a program at the middle school, and then at the high school level
Yeah,
would start submitting,
more
you know,
advanced.
yeah,
That's cool.
and then that would be like the fact they don't have a TV channel, we have that, so they would, you know, submit the various different content for posting on our TV channel.
Okay.
So that was like to work with the school and to give a point to that group. So still working to expand that with the school.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So we haven't heard back yet though. That's it for me.
Cool.
Jim? Good? Alright, so with that, I'd like to make a motion to enter into non-public session under RSA 91A3(2)A, to discuss some personnel issues. Is there a second?
I'll second that.